The police knocked, and everything changed. I've always known his habits, his patterns, and his ways. That's how I knew something wasn't right. There were so many before this situation. So many others. I wasn't naive. I saw the shifts, the distance growing. Every time I suspected something and tried to get him to be honest, I always said, I know your habits, I know your patterns, and I know your ways. And every time he denied it, moved around it, tried to make me second-guess what I already knew. For months, Leon kept telling me he had to stay at his mom's house because it was easier and quicker for him to leave for work. That was the excuse. But the truth? I found out the undeniable way. Freeze exposed herself with a social media post, announcing their anniversary in the same month that used to be our anniversary. It was right there. He still tried to deny it, still moved around it, but at some point he had to just give in. Even then, he still wanted me around, and no, not just for co-parenting purposes. I don't share. I don't do all that, because when you juggle multiple people, there's always problems, emotions, STDs, etc. I just wanted to focus on me and the kids. The kids didn't want anything to do with his new relationship because of things that happened in the past, or maybe because they love their mom and dad, and they're still adjusting to us not being together. They had already adjusted to us not living together. I asked Leon to leave years ago because of his behavior. They were adjusting to that. Then he grew more and more distant, and that's how I knew something wasn't right. Then came the police visits. Leon wanted to come and walk the dog, Goldie, the same dog he once said was deceased, but had been in my care for years. He said they were to make up for the children we didn't have. Goldie and Latte had just gone to the vet the day before. Yay! The moment he came to see the kids and to take Goldie out, I woke up to someone trolling me on Messenger. Their exact words, "Where's King? Is he with you or the other fat bee?" Then they asked, "Where's Goldie and King?" Mind you, Leon had just got here, and before he left he had announced that he was taking Goldie for a walk, and yet somehow this person knew exactly when to ask about him and the dog. That's when it clicked. The trolling didn't stop there. They started talking about my kids, started talking about me, trying to make sure I knew Leon had said foul things about me. Did I ask him about it? Yes. And his response? Screaming, cussing me out, losing his mind while blaming everyone else? My daughter was in the car with him, sitting right beside him, while he was yelling at me on the phone, all because I asked a question. This is why I don't question him. Not because I don't want to, but because it always ends like this. It's either yelling, cussing, storming off, or worse. Sometimes it has even gotten, well, never mind. That's when he started realizing who it was that had been trolling me. And that's when he started giving me his version of the story. I won't disclose what he told me right now, but the fact is, he shouldn't have been talking about either of us. That's pillow talking. But I'll admit, this time I'm grateful for it. Because when he realized who was trolling me, he started talking. And what he told me, it made me realize something. It made me realize I needed to go get tested. I won't repeat what he said just yet, but I will say this. I'm glad I listened. Then came the final realization. The police showed up and it didn't stop. Visit after visit, showing up at my door, disrupting my home. Between Thanksgiving and the second week of December during my daughter's birthday celebration, and yes, we had guests over, but they kept coming. 4 visits, 4 disruptions, 4 times my kids had to sit in confusion, watching grown adults drag them into something they had nothing to do with, or even I had nothing to do with. But isn't that exactly what he used to accuse me of? Funny how that works. Funny how the ones who claim to protect are the same ones who pull their own children through the very mess they create. And that's when I knew. I had to advocate for myself, for my kids. Because if I don't, no one else will. They will just continue to label me toxic. If protecting me, my children and home is toxic, then I'm hazardous. And then, as if none of it had happened, Leon asked me to spend Valentine's Day with him as husband and wife. He told me he wanted to talk, that he had been upset the other night and said things he didn't mean, that he was hurt. The nerve of him thinking his hurt trumps mine. And then, the next day, he announced his engagement on social media. Hopefully she will make him change his address. Look, I don't share. I don't compete. I'm just tired. And just like that, it's not my problem anymore. But it's still yours. They whispered betrayal in my name, never realizing I was only handing them what they had coming. If my horns were showing, It's because the crown was too heavy to hold up alone. Big crown energy! And that's all I have to say about that. Happy Valentine's Day to everyone, and remember to love yourself today.